Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do that all-important comic book review so you, the fans, can make a decision on what comic books to buy. And today, fans, if there is only one comic that I talk about this week, it's going to be this one right here, and this is the Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows issue. That's right, guys. This is issue number 1. This is the Spider-Man tale that we've been promised that will be epic, and this is the one we've been waiting for a long time because it has to do with Mary Jane and Peter Parker being back together again with their daughter. That's right, fans. Now, this book is written by Dan Slott, and the artwork here is done by Adam Kubert. The artwork is pretty solid. There may be some facial expressions for me that may have been a little bit off in here. But as you read the book and you see some cool action scenes in here, you're going to see that the artwork is very well done. You know, when it comes to Spider-Man wearing that old black and blue and whatnot. And Mary Jane's, her facial expressions were good with their daughter. Their daughter's name is Annie. And so, yeah, there was some really good stuff in this book. I really enjoyed it a lot in here. So visually, the book was fantastic. So what did I think about this story? Let me just tell you now, guys, that this story was really well done. This is a book that you definitely want to read. You do not want to pass this one up. I think Dan Slott has finally hit a story right on the head. It was beautifully written, and the action was awesome. And I just want to let you know, going forward with this book, there will be spoilers. So if you don't want to see the rest of this review, read your issue first, come back, and then leave me your comments below and watch this review in its entirety, because I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay, so for the people who've read this book and are ready for spoilers and you want to discuss it and see my reactions, here we go. All right, so first off in this issue, it starts off how, you know, a great opening, just what Dan Slott did with this narration right here, and it shows a wedding picture of Peter and Mary Jane together, and the first thing that's said is, in a perfect world, this was how it was always meant to be. And it's kind of like a thing to the fans, just sitting there going, you know, this is what it was. This is the way maybe it should have been, and it never turned out that way, you know. And right away, you see the family of 3. And you see Mary Jane, Annie, and you get to see Peter Parker in this issue. And it's really cool because Peter's like nonchalant. He's like messing around with his freaking web shooters, and Annie, the baby's just hanging around. And she, you know, she copies what Peter says, and he's like, yeah, I'm trying to fix my web shooters here at the table. You know, I'm trying to stop some bad guys. And Annie's just like, bad guys? You know? And I just love her dialogue because she's kept, you know, just copying her father here. And we get to see, you know, Mary Jane and Peter are just very much in love, and they're spending some family time together. And the early part of the book, it's described as Mary Jane just giving a heads up to Peter, going, you know what, you know, she's getting a little bit older. You got to keep your identity a secret towards her, because we don't want her blurting out your name that you're Spider-Man all over the place. So there's some good family moments in the beginning before all this action ramped up in this actual issue. We find out in the book that certain people have gone missing. We find out that Daredevil and Iron Fist and Moon Knight, they've all gone missing, and we don't know what's really happened to them. So there's this emergency meeting gathered by Captain America, and the only people that are left are some of the new Warriors, which was cool to see in this issue, and a few of the Avengers in here. And they gathered a team meeting, and they found out that Augustus Roman was behind what's kind of going on. Because of the intelligence here, he's the one that has the most intelligence on him, and they have to stop him. And Iron Man goes up to Spider-Man and says, you know what, you can always be safe here in the Avengers Mansion. But, you know, Spider-Man says, well, I give up my identity here. And so he was on the phone with MJ, talking things with her. And then as the issue progresses, we find out, seeing that there was a break in Rikers Island. And then what happens is right away, Spider-Man freaks out. And he's got to hurry up and go back to his house. And he goes and he calls and he searches for Annie. And he breaks through that glass. And the next thing you see, huge spoiler if you don't want to see this. Huge spoiler. The next thing you see is probably the best page I've seen in an Amazing Spider-Man book in forever, because we have not seen this, and it was this right here. Oh my fucking God, excuse my language, but this was awesome, awesome page. And you get to see Venom, Eddie Brock Venom, holding Mary Jane and Annie in his symbiote arms. And I was just like, oh damn. I was like, snap, this is freaking awesome right now. I'm like, this has just made the book all together, because we haven't seen, you know, Eddie Brock Venom in forever, and it just brought back just those memories for me. And right away you get to see the, you know, the stress and the tension on Spider-Man's face on trying to protect his family. And he goes to town, and you can see he's afraid, and he's trying to beat him up as all he can. He's using all his strength, and he's telling Mary Jane to get out of here, and he's going, and it's just awesome. And Mary Jane is really in character here, because she's witty, she's smart, and she's thinking for herself, not like in the current Amazing Spider-Man book. She goes out into the town, she escapes, and she goes and searching for a fire truck, because she knows what can possibly beat Venom, you know, what can distract them, loud sounds, things like that, sirens. In the meantime, the Avengers are dealing with this guy. His name is Regent, and what happens is he's wound up absorbing, you know, all the superheroes' powers. And this was the old Augustus Roman guy, and he's managed to do this technology where he's just killed all these people, and he's absorbing all these powers, and it's like he's becoming in control of all of the world, wherever they're at right now in Battle World. But this totally made me forget about freaking Battle World. Like, I felt like I was really reading an Amazing Spider-Man story, because I was sucked into this so good. I didn't think this was Secret Wars. And that's how good I thought Dan Slott did with this writing. And we get to see Venom continuing to chase after Mary Jane. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of it, they go to this blazing building. And Spider-Man and Venom are trapped in here. And Spider-Man has to do something that he doesn't do. But he felt that he has to do it to protect his family, because nothing is more important but his family, his daughter and his wife. And if this is the last thing he does, this is it. And he winds up sitting there collapsing the building, and he winds up flying on freaking Venom's body. And you wind up seeing that Eddie Brock, from the way it looks, dies at the end of this issue. And what this does is it sets up the story going forward, because at the end, when you see in the future, when Annie is a little older and she's a little girl now, no longer a baby, we get to see that it looks like Spider-Man has retired from the red and blue. He's no longer a superhero, because you wind up seeing Vulture flying in the background, stealing a purse, and he don't give two shits. And I was like, damn, that is freaking crazy. And then the next thing you wind up seeing is that this Regent guy is in charge of what's going on. And it says, his power is your power. So we get to see that years has passed, and we get to see that Regent is in control of this universe, and there's no other heroes around, because he's destroyed all the heroes. Because that was the day when Venom died, is when all the other Avengers died and all the superheroes died. This dude killed the Hulk, man. He ripped off his arm. I was like, holy shit, this is insane. So I was like, wow, what a great book. By the time I got done with this and I wound up closing this book, I was like, man, I can't wait to issue 2. Like, what's going to happen here? Like, does Venom come back? Because this is the way, like, the cover is in the next issue. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just a ploy, thinking that Venom is going to die here, or he did die. But it was such a well-written book, and it was like, holy shit, Dan Slott, you wrote a phenomenal Spider-Man story. Peter Parker was just in character. Mary Jane was smart. She was witty. She was just on her toes trying to protect her daughter. She was a hero in herself. The Avengers got destroyed. All the heroes got destroyed. And it was just set up to be such a great, amazing Spider-Man story that I got so lost that I didn't even think it was Secret Wars going on. So I cannot wait to see what happens in here. Great artwork. Again, a couple of those character expressions were a little bit off, but overall, guys, you have to read this book. It is phenomenal. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. Guys, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this comic book. Were you as excited as I was to see this type of Spider-Man story brought back to you? Were you excited to see some of these old New Warriors back? Just tell me everything and your thoughts on this video, this review, and in this book all together, because I loved it. I will not be surprised if this is not Book of the Week for me, because if I could give this a freaking 8 out of 10, 5 stars, I would, because this for me, it just hit on all cylinders. I loved it and truly enjoyed it. A great setup issue for what's to come in this series. So guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Till the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, fans.